Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Namaste service, our Sunday service. And today, I have a feeling it's going to be one that we remember. I hope so. Now, that being said, I also think that today's service may be challenging, but if we decide and choose to dive right into that challenge, go for it. I believe that this lesson is going to help to open up everything for us. Because what we're going to be sharing today is going to be the thing that we are perhaps most afraid of, the thing that scares us the most. I'm not going to tell you quite yet what that is, but it is the single most important lesson and the single most challenging lesson, and for the two of them to come together means that this is the opportunity. Our willingness to see this and to really engage with this lesson is our catapult out of this world. And that's literally what it has always felt to me, a catapult into heaven itself, the experience of heaven. And it really comes down to, are you ready and willing to undergo that experience? Or is it easier just to talk about things and share opinions and ideas and never really fully give yourself to this lesson? I don't think any of you here would say that you're here only for the concepts or you're here only for the lip service. I think you would have left a long time ago, because my only goal here in these sessions is to hold a frequency that is so high and so sharp that it cuts through all of those lessons that are easy and palatable and delicious. And there's nothing wrong with delicious and beautiful lessons, but there comes a moment when we have to confront the challenge of perception. And that's what we're going to be doing here today. And this lesson today was sparked for me by something that I read just last night. It was in a book about St. Francis, oddly enough. And it brought out one of the most important and most challenging aspects of Francis. But I think what you're going to see here is that this is not just Francis saying something like this. And this is not just Jesus 2,000 years ago saying the exact same thing. But this is also the exact lesson that you're hearing over and over and over again in sources like A Course in Miracles. And every other illumined source is saying this. But it is the thing that we're going to say, maybe he doesn't quite mean it like that. Maybe there's a softer approach. I'm telling you there isn't. And the reason I know that there isn't a softer approach or path into this lesson is because if there was, it wouldn't be hit so firmly and so sharply by so many sources. The only thing that's going to really shift is your willingness to fully embrace this lesson. Now, what you're going to hear in the beginning is a lesson that seems very negative and very difficult. You're going to think, why would I want to do that? We're going to hear that often. Why would I want to have that attitude when, at least from the onset, it doesn't bring me perfect joy? What I'm telling you is that when you fully embrace this, your joy will be perfect. It will bring about a joy that this world does not understand and can never comprehend. So once again, I'm going to share this from different sources so you can see this is not just one person or one source. This is what they're all saying to us. And for me, this began when I was reading this book about St. Francis. And Francis was challenged in this way. He was challenged, and here is the beginning, to despise all that he formerly desired and to cherish all that he formerly despised. Let me say that one more time. Francis and all of us are called to despise what we formerly desired and to cherish that which we formerly despised. In other words, to turn it all around. And isn't that what we're always being called to do? To turn it around so that what we saw in our perceptual mind, through our ego, which we thought was valuable through and for our ego, we now see that this is completely not valuable. There's no value to it at all. And that which we tried to run from, this is where the true value is. Now here's the thing about Francis. This is a very hard teaching because he often went around telling people, despise the world, turn your back on the world. There's nothing here of value. This is very true. But here's the other thing that you need to know. Francis praised God through all the creatures of the earth. So what he was turning his back on and despising was not the essence of love that is present and exposed here on earth. He was turning his back on all the things that the ego or the split self says, you need to do this, or this is what is important. You need to have a lot of money. You need to have a lot of power. You need to find some way to have prestige. You need to be able to exert power and dominion over your brothers and sisters. You need to be the one that they listen to. This is what he despised, and Francis certainly had enough of that. So he knew the taste of this, and he knew that ultimately it was tasteless. It never gave him what he really wanted. So this is what Francis was turning his back on. But at the same time, he was able to look at nature, and he was able to see the wind and to know that the wind was his brother, as well as the fire or sister moon. This, by the way, if you can see it, this is a shirt that says in Italian, Sister Moon. So Francis was able to praise God through all the creatures of God and to see the presence of God through all these creatures, while at the same time, and here's the key, turning his back not on the world, but the ways of the split mind within the world. You see, that's the difference. To see to turn his back on the manifestations of the split mind within the world, the way that the split mind tries to gain and gather power, so that you will never go for the experience. You will never be catapulted through this experience into heaven. So that's where it begins with St. Francis. But we could look back even further than that, and we can hear that Jesus 2,000 years ago said the same thing. This is from the Gospel of John. Jesus answered them and said, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the earth and dies, it remains alone. Unless you die to all of your beliefs, you remain isolated," would be another way of saying that. But if it does surrender and allow itself to die, or the ego, it bears much fruit. Now here's the key line. It says, "Whoever loves his life will lose it, and whoever hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life." In other words, let's try and bring this in a way that we can understand it better. He's saying that if you love this life of the split mind, that which you have been told is what you should desire and want and fight and work for, to have power, to have dominion, to be able to exert all of these things through the money that you are able to accumulate, goods, in other words. If that's what your object is, you need to turn your back on that. You need to literally despise the thinking and the ways of the split mind, so that you can come to a place of wholeness and to realize that I am all of that. And through my forgiveness of myself and others, I'm able to experience that. So that was 2,000 years ago. Now we're going to turn to another source, a more modern one, A Course in Miracles. And once again, to know that the same thing is being said over and over by all these sources, by anyone who has come into a true experience of wholeness. And our challenge is, are we going to say, oh, Jimmy's being rather dramatic this week. I mean, he's throwing this in our face. Yes, I am throwing this in your face. Because, once again, this is, what you're about to hear now, is the catapult that will give you the momentum that you need to be lifted into the experience that we talk about here. Every day. There's never a day that we're not pointed right at the experience. We're not giving intellectual or conceptual lessons here. This is all pointed in one direction. And if you want to achieve that, this is what you must do. Otherwise, it's cool. You're going to do it at some point. The only question is, why not now? Why wait for heaven when you can do it right in this moment? So this is what it says in A Course in Miracles. It says, the world I see holds nothing that I want. You probably knew I was going there, didn't you? The world I see or perceive with my split mind holds nothing that I want. It doesn't say holds very little that I want. It says nothing. It's resolute. It's uncompromising. As I've said many times before, the moment you are as uncompromising with this message as it is for you, as it is uncompromising to and for you, you'll get it. The experience will dawn. Okay, so let's read a little bit here. The world you see has nothing that you need to offer you, nothing that you can use in any way, nor anything that serves to give you joy. Believe this thought, and you are saved from years of misery, from countless disappointments, and from hopes that turn to bitter ash of despair. Does it feel like he's holding back there? No. This is uncompromising. Remember that word, uncompromising. No one must but accept this thought as true if they would leave this world behind and soar beyond its petty scope in little ways. No one but must accept that this thought is true in order to be catapulted into the experience of heaven itself. This is the key. Now, you may not want to use words like despise and hate. I get that. But don't fool yourself into believing that it's less than that. That it's less than you turning your back on that which has no value and facing that which has total value. Because I promise you that in your split mind, you've been doing the exact opposite and making it seem very reasonable and very logical. Stop that. It has never given you what you really want, and that's what this is saying here. Turn around, face the light, face that which has total value. And you'll see that what has total value is you. You are the one who has total value because the whole kingdom is contained within you, but you're never going to be able to realize that and to experience that until you do this first, until you turn back around. A tiny bit more. Each thing you value here is but a chain that binds you to the world, and it will serve no other end but this. Everything that you value in time and space, once again, it doesn't say most things. It says each thing. Each thing that you value here is but a chain. So, I'm just going to close it now because you've heard enough. Now we just have to ask ourselves a question, which is, am I willing to believe this? Not intellectually, but am I willing today, this moment, to realize that this is not something that one enlightened one or one illumined source is saying. They're all saying this. They're all saying this. And you, me, in the split mind, are literally the denial of this. When are you going to stop being the complete denial of what you've heard and continue to think that the world is going to give you something that you want? And when are you going to turn back around and realize that now you are the complete affirmation of this? It's right there, if you would but choose, or give it lip service. I promise you that the only thing that that's going to do is the lesson's going to keep coming around, lifetime after lifetime, until you finally accept it. So the question once again is, why not now? I promise that if you do, there will be a sense of lightness, a sense of freedom, a sense of joy that this world can never give, that you've never experienced before. If, as you heard from St. Francis, you begin to love that which you once despised and cherish that which, no, to despise that which you once loved and then to cherish that which you once despised. This happened for Francis when he came face to face with a leper, and instead of running, he got down off the horse and he went and he ran and embraced that leper and gave him all of his money. That was the moment and the symbol of that turn for him. What's going to be the moment and the symbol of the return for you? It will be something, I promise. Something's going to happen where this lesson is going to come back into your mind, and you're going to say, okay, here it is. I can either run toward that which I once despised, and in doing so, cherish the opposite. It's up to you now. So, I'm going to take a quick peek here and see. Vicky, are you here? I didn't get a chance to look before. I'm sure Vicky has all sorts of things going on with her move and with taking care of Teddy, and I don't see Christina either. So let's just open it up. How challenging is this? Are you thinking, why the hell did I turn him on this morning? Or are you feeling something like saying, yes, I choose this uncompromising vision. I choose it. What are you feeling? Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I think we're in a perfect time frame for this to come up because I see so many people with the political situation, and I'm experiencing this hate kind of thing from people, and it's like, why can't we get it that this is all part of our process, and for me, I can embrace it, and I can still feel joy, and I can still feel love, and so I know I'm willing, and I believe that it's already happened because in it really has already happened, that humanity will rise above our situation. I hold this in my heart. I believe it, and it's a desire right now. But at the same time, there's like, I just have to take one step at a time, one breath at a time, and ask my questions one step at a time, because I still have my human ego. I still have my humanness that I'm dealing with, the old things that I used to cherish so much. But what I'm experiencing in my life is an increase in peace, an increase in joy, and an increase in willingness to just accept things as they are,
Yes.
as I question. So thank you for this morning.
Oh, thank you, Linda. You know, I'm curious. I can speak for myself in hearing that line from Francis. Let me read it to you once again. His words were that we must despise that which we formerly desired and cherish all that we formerly despised. I'm wondering, for me, that loving that which I formerly despised, well, we won't mention names, but we'll just say that it is a particular political situation. How many of you are feeling like that's where the big challenge is for you? That's right where it is for me. When I read something or scenes, I feel this thing come up, this energy like, no, no. I mean, we all know over the weekend, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and that was the first feeling, like, now, why now? Please. And because I was putting so much importance on the physical outcome of whatever. Instead, what if I'm able to turn that around and to love that which I despised, to cherish that which I completely ran away from and despised? How would my life change? And if my life were to change in that way, how much would the world change? So find that which is toughest for you. For me, it's that. Find that which is toughest for you and use that as your training ground. Because if you can go there, if you can love a situation like that and cherish it, as Francis said, you know, that's like going into a gym and lifting some heavy weights. You're going to get strong quick. Who else would like to share? Hi, Jamie Lee. Go right ahead. Oh, are you still muted, Jamie Lee? There you go.
Okay. Okay, so a part of me is hesitant to say what I want to contribute because it's still reconciling something that is at tipping point for contributing to split mind about something, when the truth of it is I'm experiencing more of a heart sick about something. And I'm really honoring the heart, and I want my mind to stay out of it. The best example is you made mention, for those of you that turned this on, and it was almost like, did you regret you turned this on? And I'm like, no, I regretted that I turned it on 13 minutes into it, because I've been listening to another massive Course of Miracles gathering right now in which my heart sickness feels people that were defending split mind were going into complete agreement with projection, and the oneness that I had been feeling with this whole group went into division and political activism. And I'm like, no, we were just talking about the healing of this whole thing. Anyway. So
I have a feeling I know who is speaking.
So, well, and I want to be careful I don't project on anything, because this is my process of, this is the most beautiful experience right now of the table that I'm at this massive restaurant moment right now with this buffet, and Jimmy is serving St. Francis, and I was at another side of the buffet, which is just beautiful with all this stuff, but suddenly something ugly got delivered to the buffet line, and people went like flocking to it because it looked pretty and it sounded great, smelled great, but I was experiencing suddenly me committing to hold the non-split mind present to lift everybody in every situation. Because if we want to pick one arena right now that is most reflective of split mind with the fear and the panic, let's look at politics. Let's look at what us as Course of Mind, split mind, non-dualist, committed beings are holding the sacred space. So the aroma of goodness is in the air. And I felt this empath thing. I've shared with that before you, the empath syndrome of heart sick, because I felt the Course was being used to be right about something else. And the missing point of where we're holding this love for everybody, all politics, all religions, everything, for peace to prevail as the oneness beyond any projection. So I'm happy this is recorded, and I'm assuming being uploaded to YouTube, because I'm honoring, I don't want to deny the feeling of the space of, okay, there's a heart sickness for humanity of what everybody is almost like in prison being forced to eat, but trying to make the mashed potatoes have more flavor than it is with other projections to replace another projection, So how we season things right now, this is really an ultimate for all of us. And I really appreciated coming into the vibration of this, where we're reminded of the examples of what do we do to hold that space to be the difference, that peace may prevail. We know it will. We know we're in the great sifting. So that's me. I don't know how many of us also are coming to this point where we're very clearly feeling where split mind is activated to come on, that it's invited in very subtly by this sexy looking food or something. And the heart sickness, the heart has to, that's it. It's the heart wisdom choosing, no, not split mind, to go there, stay here. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for all of us doing our work, that will be here, so that even when the non-dualist are defending something or believing something, which we all have a right, we're human, we have to take action how we're guided. And it's the invitation to, wow, settle with this, very clear for ourselves, and pick up the instruments of peace, no matter what, because it's too easy to season something else that's being delivered at this great restaurant of earth right now. So I'll stop there. I'm just acknowledging my reconciliation process, to be careful I'm not going tipping point in agreement, because I'm seeing this from multi-level perspectives, and I can hook to either one of them. But I really want to stay seeing it all and holding it, because here is where the light transforms, and we're higher frequency bathes, the rest of this by our simple gaze. So thanks everybody for your work in joining this. We are this powerful because the light is this powerful, and we really have nothing to do with it, if that makes sense. That's our power. So thank you everybody for letting me reconcile publicly.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did, because yeah, what you're expressing is key, and it's so seductive, as you would. It comes to the smorgasbord looking so pretty, but it's the same thing underneath as everything else. Because, and this is why it's so important for us to remain completely resolute and uncompromising in one thing: only love is real. I don't care what shows up. I don't care how it looks. It may seem to be the exact opposite. It's still my responsibility to remember only love is real, because that's what's going to bring me into the experience. Me trying to change the world, me trying to change a person or fight against a political person or system changes nothing. Nothing. My willingness to cherish that which I once despised changes everything.
Yeah.
What more do you need? Why try and change nothing when you can change everything?
Just by the gaze of our eyes that are in complete pureness. Pureness. We see the game for what it is. It doesn't matter. Let's just use this example. It doesn't matter if it's red or blue. Many of us commit to the violet fire of transformation, in which we're recognizing the projections on a red or a blue or a black or a green or a white or a black human. Oh God, that the deceit of what the appearance could be, and in many cases what the appearance is only the projection from the culture or the distortions running wild. So here we are again, breathing together, being lifted together at each moment, coming back to the heart's choice. And if the heart's feeling heart sick, the wisdom of the heart has the grace that puts us back here. And there we go. I don't need to loop this. It's just that maybe Course of Miracles is the loop we want to run, but talking gets in the way of the energy being the love. So I'm going to be quiet now.
Yeah, well, no, I love what you're saying. Just be uncompromising. That's the whole message today. Don't compromise the truth, because you're only compromising yourself. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired of compromising myself.
We can really feel right now the absolute ache of the massive madness of the polarities. We can feel that. This is why, really, do we even have a choice anymore to be compromising? I don't think we do. No. That's why it was so disturbing of, oh, I'm feeling split mind moment coming, but that can't be possible. But let me feel it as heartsick instead, and take, that's a real feeling that makes it my experience. Now, then I could move through that. And I still am. I love humanity, and I want us all to be at peace. And, I have to be careful I don't push that desire on everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Jamie Lee.